Hey, what is up everyone? Swiper here today with a new video for you guys. Just a few tips to help improve your scout gameplay and be a viable asset to the team in objective-based games while still getting those headshots all us scout players itch for so bad. First and foremost, pick a gun you're comfortable with. Since Battlefield 1 doesn't have the huge selection of snipers and DMRs we've gotten used to since Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, this one is very important. Just because someone else does good with the Martini-Henry, which is a sniper that you see me using here, doesn't mean you will enjoy using it. So always be sure the gun in your hands is a gun you enjoy using. Now that you've picked the gun you want to use, make sure your sidearm is trustworthy. It needs to be a gun that is easy to control and has a pretty decent amount of ammo. You don't want to get stuck with a 6-shooter in your hands and get caught in a 4v1 situation, especially since the scout revolver is among the worst guns in the game. I personally use the P08 because I like the way the Red Baron camo looks and I like the fact that it holds a decent amount of ammunition. But again, that does come back to what gun is more comfortable in your hands. If you like using the 6-shooter, I'm not exactly sure of the name, I say go right ahead. It's all personal preference. So what equipment should you use? I've spent a fair amount of time working on this one. I've used all of the different equipment and I absolutely love the spotting flares. They not only help you get points, but they help out the entire team. And they can even get you a kill or two, depending on if you direct impact a weakened enemy or if an enemy runs over top of them. Because if an enemy runs over top of them, it will still catch them on fire. I also use the incendiary tripwire bomb. I like that one more than the other two, but that's just personal preference. The only reason I like it better is because the exploding one doesn't always kill. I myself have ran over a couple and have not died by one yet. And the smoke one, I don't like the fact that if an enemy runs into it, it can smoke out your entire team, while the fire won't do team damage. But the smoke doesn't do team damage either, it just makes it really inconvenient for your entire team. K-bullets are always a viable option. They do have their place in Conquest and Operations, but if you're going to be playing something like Team Deathmatch and still trying to use a sniper, I don't recommend K-bullets. They won't have much of a use there. But this video isn't based around Team Deathmatch. It really is based around objective games like Pigeon or Conquest or Operations. Just the larger scale games. I don't recommend using the sniper shield or the sniper decoys. Both of those to me just inspire camping. If you're going to use those, you are going to sit on a mountaintop. You're going to sit in the back of your spawn and you're just going to try to get other snipers to shoot at you so you can find them and then use that equipment to your advantage. If you're going to camp, those would be your best two options because you can put the decoys up, you can put your shield up, you can sit behind your shield, and as people shoot your decoys, you can follow their bullet tracer and you can get those long-range kills. But just keep in mind, nobody likes the squad mate who is sitting on the tallest mountain trying to get those ridiculously long headshots. So now that we've got our class set up, let's jump into the game. I play mainly Conquest, but these tips pretty much run true in all game modes that have objectives, and the number one and the most important is play the objectives. I know I've said it for a long time now, but it is the best tip I can give you. Now, simply saying play the objective doesn't mean you must bayonet charge into every flag and try to wipe out the enemy team. As a scout player, your role is set in a different light. Instead, you should be on the edge of the capture zone, shooting your spotting flares into the objective and picking off the enemy players who are inside the objective with their attentions focused on your squad mates pushing in. This will guarantee you easy kills. Easy kills, considering that you are a decent shot and can hit someone who isn't completely still. Once you notice your team starting to overrun an objective, you can move in yourself and start picking up those capture points, but until you've noticed that your team is starting to take that objective, you need to be on the outside you just need to be on the outside of the objective, working on taking those enemies down that are already in the objective who are more focused on your team rushing in. The sniper in the back is usually the last man spotted. going to be the support players, the medics, and the assault players who are pushing the objective harder than you that are going to be the first ones pointed out to the enemy team, giving you the option, giving you the chance to take out those players and help your team in the long run. So once your team has started capturing the flag, it's almost expected that the other team will start to spawn in on the flag while they still have that option and try to take it back. We see it all the time in Conquest. Your team starts taking the flag, the enemy team immediately starts spawning back on it. It happens on both sides. If you're losing a flag, you will spawn in on it and try to keep that flag for your team because nobody likes to lose. This is where scout players become extremely important. This is the most important part of capturing for scout players because you're the first one to see the fresh spawns. You have the option of magnification where other classes don't have that extreme magnification that you do. But the magnification on your weapon, of course, is determined by the weapon that you chose. Where I use the Martini-Henry, I don't have that magnification, which in some situations would be better. But even without the magnification, I am still able to watch the flanks and watch for fresh spawns, and because the weapon that I use has one-shot capability, I am still able to do those fairly well. Now, when your team has started taking the objective and you've wiped out all the enemies, a scout player's two main priorities to help continue taking the flag are watch for the flanks for enemies trying to get from one other flag to the flag that you're taking, and watching for the fresh spawns. Now, the fresh spawns are the most important because they will be the ones happening more often than people coming from another flag, especially if you're taking like A flag and you already have B flag, then there's nowhere else they can come from unless they spawn in. So your main priority should be watching the flanks and watching the fresh spawns, with watching the fresh spawns obviously taking top priority. You shouldn't generally find yourself sitting in the corner of a building waiting for the enemy to rush in. 9 times out of 10 that's a battle that you're going to lose, and trust me, it's happened to me plenty of times to know. Instead, you should still be on the outer edge, barely in the capture zone, picking off the unsuspecting rushers before they can get into the capture zone. Now, I'm not saying sitting in the window of a building and catching the fresh spawns isn't a viable option, because it is. In some cases, it's the better option. But that's what most players expect and will be looking for. It's better being the sniper in the bush than being the sniper in the attic. So that does it for this tip video, guys. If you feel like you learned something, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one in the near future. If there's anything you think I missed, be sure to put it in the comments below. Maybe I'll put it in my next video.